唱歌的时候我也想跳跳，知道吗？因为我以前也是做表演的，所以我就想啊，
是吧？我们金大孔乐的合唱团果然是招牌，果然名不虚传，是不是？对，好。
You know, when I was watching them, singing this song, I felt like, coming back to the virtual. I used to be always in the virtual, I'm a product of this virtual.
OK， 好，下面呢，让我们首先有请津巴布韦大学文学院院长姆瓦提先生为我们此次的比赛致欢迎词。大家有请。
At this point in time, let us invite Professor Mwati, the Dean of Faculty of Arts, to come and give us some opening remarks and some introduction. Prof.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. For a moment, as the choir was, performing, I thought the whole house was going to erupt in a frenzy of excitement, and jump, and hit the roof. But to my surprise, people were just, composed, seated, relaxed. I think we need more excitement. When we receive such a soul, melting music, we must express it on the dance floor. So the next time that the choir comes, to the podium, I am kindly, inviting you to be on your feet and shake the body. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the presence of the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, representing academic affairs, Professor Mashiri. Also allow me to recognize the presence of the Ambassador of China, Wang Ping. Let me also recognize members of the executive of the university. I also want to make special mention and take special note of the presence of members from other faculties, deans, deputy deans, fellow academics here present, students, our adjudicators, and everyone else, comrades and friends. Welcome. This is a very special night. This night is very special for two reasons. The first one is that as we hold the Chinese Bridge, Chinese Proficiency Competition, it is coming exactly a year after we produced one of the stellar performers who made it big on the world stage. And he goes by the name, let me just look for the name here, that's Michael Nisha. So that makes it very special. Which means that today there is a very strong possibility and likelihood that would also present a world winner. And I have very strong hope, and the ambassador will also share that strong hope with me that will produce a world winner tonight. Then number two, this Chinese Bridge competition is coming in the year when we are celebrating 10 years of existence as the Confucius Institute at the University of Zimbabwe. So that makes it very special. It therefore becomes part of a litany of a wide array of activities that have been lined up to commemorate the 10th anniversary. The introduction of Chinese at the University of Zimbabwe has touched lives, has transformed lives, but it began as a very small idea. And now what we are beginning to witness, obviously, is the extraordinary fruitfulness of the vision of the Vice Chancellor and the former Dean, who is now the Vice Chancellor, Lieutenant Professor Mashiri. They had the audacity and the courage to believe when others never believed that Chinese would make so massive a difference to the lives, of many. They were long-sighted, foresighted, and far-sighted, which is the hallmark of excellent, and good leadership. Today, Chinese has opened doors of possibilities, doors of opportunity to many young people who never dared to dream. So we now have so many young people who can dare to dream, who can now rub shoulders with the best in the world because of our two great leaders, Professor Levi Nyagura as well as Professor Mashiri. So we are really very excited, and also the massive support that we've been receiving from the Chinese embassy has made everything very possible. And with those very few remarks, and also without further ado, I would want to take this opportunity to now invite the Pro Vice Chancellor, who is representing the Vice Chancellor, to come to the podium to give his welcome remarks. I thank you.
Use it as variety. You have the vertically gifted and the vertically challenged operating together. So, His Excellency Wang King, Nishiwa Tapanyia. I want to welcome Madame Lee Manjua. Thank you very much. She's, you can take a seat, the leader of the Chinese Business Association. And thank you very much for all the support and to accept to come as one of our judges. We cherish that support a great deal. We also want to welcome other members who are our judges today, but I want also to recognize the Chinese director, Professor Ongbo. Thank you very much, Prof, for organizing this very wonderful occasion. I want to recognize all the lecturers and the staff in the CI, of course with the leadership and inspiration of the Dean, Professor Moati. Thank you very much for your very kind words. It's comforting and encouraging to hear that one can become a great leader, although greatness is relative. But I want to welcome everyone, including colleagues from the rest of the university, then deans who are here, deputy deans, and other members of staff. I want to welcome all our students and their parents, guardians, supporters, siblings, and spouses. I won't speechify because the Dean has already given us a lot of what we should know. But all I want to say is that I'm very proud of the Confucius Institute. And I see this as one of the things that I've lived for at the University of Zimbabwe. And I hope that I will continue to see the Institute thriving. And I'm most grateful in the sense that the teaching of Chinese, Your Excellency, is now spreading from the Faculty of Arts to other faculties. We started with tourism and hospitality. And now we also have political administration. We are now going to have business studies. Students also learning Chinese. The idea is to give as much exposure as possible to students who would want to learn Chinese, so that it acts as a bridge between China and Zimbabwe, but also opens many doors and opportunities for employment and other purposes across the world. Since 2002, when the Chinese bridge was established by the Confucius Institute headquarters, the world over students and learners of Chinese have been participating in the international competition. We joined 5 years ago. We are now in our 6th year as Zimbabwe, and we are very grateful to the embassy who have been sponsoring the local competitions through the Confucius Institute headquarters. Your Excellency, we don't take the support for granted. As UZ, we are most indebted to your very consistent and relentless, support. We want to thank, the Chinese Business Association for all the support you have rendered, to the university, including providing support in terms of airfare for scholarship winners as they travel to take up their scholarships in China. But within the 6 years, we've had a lot of success. And our very first participant, Michael, I was going to say Mahendere, because Mahendere was one of our very first participants in the Chinese choir, in the Confucius choir. He was our first leader of the Chinese choir. But we had 2 Michaels participating in the Confucius Institute. We had also Anes, we had also Deja. But the other 3 did extremely well. Anes also did well, in spite of the fact that he fell ill while he was attending the competitions. But notwithstanding that unfortunate experience, he came out in a decent position to allow him to get a scholarship, and he is now finishing his first stage and already qualifying for a master's program. I do not want the winner of this competition, who will be representing us in China, to feel the pressure that they must also be number 1. I want them to go there and participate to the best of their ability. And if they do their best, no matter what number they take, that will be acceptable enough to the University of Zimbabwe. If they come out first or second, as the colleagues did, we will be very grateful. But should they not come out first or second, but would have done their best, we will also be grateful. So we are not competing, or we are not comparing anyone with each other. All we want is for anyone who goes there to feel the passion that they are representing the University of Zimbabwe, and most importantly, the country Zimbabwe. So whenever they go, we give them 2 flags, University of Zimbabwe flag and the Republic of Zimbabwe flag, to symbolize, the level of representation. But I want to stress the point, Your Excellency, that we don't want them to collapse. We don't want them to be anxious. All we want is for them to take this as a unique lifetime experience. And being among so many international contestants is a very rare privilege indeed. And being able to represent UZ, a premier institution of higher learning in Africa, and being able to represent our beautiful land, Zimbabwe, is a rare opportunity in itself that they must be proud of. So I thought I should emphasize this point, because there is always a tendency to compare one person with the other. But I have no doubt in my mind that the spirit of Zimbabwe, the spirit of UZ, the spirit of the other contestants, and the spirit of Confucius will make our contestant the winner of the